She didn't think twice about hitchhiking that morning. It was late May, the sky was bright, and the road stretched clean and quiet across Northern California. Colleen Stan had done this before. She was 20, careful, and good at reading people. When a blue car pulled over with a young couple and a baby in the back seat, it looked safe, safer than most. She leaned in, saw the woman smiling, saw the child strapped in, and decided it was fine. She climbed into the back seat, shut the door, and the car eased back onto the highway. For the first miles, everything felt normal. They talked a little about where she was headed. They asked about her trip to Oregon. Nothing felt off. But as the car turned onto smaller roads, the mood inside shifted. The man drove without talking. The woman barely looked at Colleen anymore. The baby slept. Colleen felt the air change and wondered why the easy conversation had gone quiet. She didn't ask questions. She just watched the trees blur past and tried to ignore the twist in her stomach. When the car finally stopped along a remote stretch of road, she barely had time to react. The man, Cameron Hooker, turned around with a knife in his hand. The threat was immediate and absolute. He forced her out of the car, bound her, and made her lie still while he retrieved something from the trunk, a large wooden box, heavy and padded, built to lock shut over a person's head. He lowered it onto her, sealed it tight, and the sound around her cut off. The air grew hot and thin. She couldn't see anything. She could barely move. Panic hit fast, and then darkness pressed in from every angle. They took her to their home in Red Bluff, a small, aging house where Cameron and his wife Janice lived quietly. The couple carried her down into the basement, a dim space lit by a single bulb. Cameron suspended her from the ceiling, beat her until she hung limp, then forced her into the larger wooden box he had built, a coffin-like structure designed to immobilize her completely. The box fit under their waterbed, and that was where Colleen spent most of her days. Hours turned into days, and days turned into weeks. The air inside the box felt stale and close, and she learned to control her breathing so she wouldn't pass out. Cameron told her he belonged to a powerful organization called The Company, a secret group that monitored slaves, punished escape attempts, and would kill her family if she disobeyed. The threat was deliberate, designed to break her sense of reality. He told her she had no rights, no choices, and no future outside of what he allowed. Convinced the organization was real, Colleen stopped resisting. She did what she was told, holding on to whatever strength she could find to survive another day. Above her, life in the house continued normally. Neighbors came and went. Janice cooked dinner. Cameron went to work. No one knew a kidnapped woman lay silently beneath the bed, boxed in a space too tight to stretch. Colleen became skilled at listening, counting footsteps, waiting for the sound of the bed creaking when someone sat down, noting when the house emptied so she could breathe more freely. She began to understand Cameron's routines, the rhythms of the house, and how long she might be left alone in the dark. After months inside the box, Cameron began letting her out for controlled periods. He allowed her to do chores, to cook, to clean, always under watch and always under threat of the company. When he forced her to sign a fabricated contract claiming she was his slave, she believed it was legally binding. Cameron now had what he wanted: total psychological control. Years passed. He took her outside sometimes to work in the yard, to hang laundry, even to visit his family. People who saw her assumed she was a shy friend staying with the Hookers. They had no idea she would be locked back into the box as soon as the visit was over. On trips, Cameron kept her silent with the reminder that the company was everywhere. If she ran, they would find her. If she told the truth, they would kill the people she loved. The fear held her in place. By the 7th year, Cameron wanted more freedom over her. He allowed Colleen to get a job, believing she was too conditioned to run. She worked at a hotel, earning money, interacting with co-workers, acting like a normal young woman. At night, she returned to the hooker's home, convinced that remaining under Cameron's control was the only way to keep her family safe. The emotional trap was complete. It confused even her. She couldn't explain why she never fled, why she apologized whenever she displeased him, or why she still believed the company was watching her every move. Everything finally changed because of Janice. Cameron had turned his attention toward capturing another woman, insisting that their home should have more than one slave. Janice had lived for years trapped in Cameron's violence, too. She had once been a victim herself before becoming his accomplice. But the idea of repeating the cycle pushed her beyond her limit. She found Colleen at the house one day and told her the truth. The company didn't exist. No one was watching. Cameron had invented every threat. Colleen listened, stunned. The fear that had shaped her life for so long cracked open. She called her parents from a bus station, speaking in halting words, as she tried to explain where she had been. She went home, not just physically, but mentally, reclaiming the sense of identity that had been buried under years of manipulation and confinement. It took months before Janice reported Cameron to authorities. When detectives searched the hooker home, they found the boxes, the cramped head box, the larger coffin-style one, the restraints, the diagrams Cameron had drawn. The details matched Colleen's account in every painful point. Cameron Hooker was arrested, tried, and sentenced to a long prison term for kidnapping and torture. The evidence of how he had controlled her psychologically became a landmark example in criminal cases involving coercion and captivity. Colleen rebuilt her life slowly. The years taken from her could never be replaced, but she chose to stand in court, to tell her story, and to show that survival was possible even after unthinkable captivity. Her case changed how investigators understood long-term psychological imprisonment. She became an example of endurance, not the kind built on strength alone, but on the quiet, determined choice to keep living inside circumstances designed to crush a person completely. Her story is one of the most documented cases of long-term abduction in American history, not because it was sensational, but because it revealed how control can be built layer by layer until a victim believes escape is impossible. Colleen's survival broke that illusion. It proved that even after years in a box, a person can take their life back. Thank you for listening to Homicide Files. Subscribe for more true crime stories.